bands promote shows like they used to? Is there any upside to going old school in the modern era? Let's talk about it. What's up everybody, my name is Adam, welcome to the channel. My goal is to help you make good money playing music. If that sounds like something you'd be into, please subscribe to the channel and ring the bell so you don't miss anything. So my 80s band members only is about to get super busy, and our next performance is this public event that we're doing a little over a week away. This is a ticketed event and we ultimately want as many people there as possible. Now the first reason being that if more people show up, we make more money. But secondly, the venue will be more inclined to book us in the future. As this date approached, I started to wonder, what are other bands doing to promote their shows? So I posted a poll to YouTube asking you guys what tools you're using when you have a show coming up. I was absolutely shocked at the results. It seems like the majority of musicians promote their upcoming shows on social media. Some bands will even put some money behind local ads in their market. And a few create promotional videos to kind of personalize the event. Nothing too surprising so far, but the other two methods, creating physical flyers and going to a venue to promote upcoming shows, 0%. Zero? When I was just getting started playing in bands, those two methods were the only way that you could promote an upcoming gig. Now this got me thinking, does social media make those traditional methods obsolete? I was curious. So for this gig, I decided to try all of them. I made different size graphics to post on all of our different social media channels. I made an animated flyer that we could post as a video to hopefully draw attention and stand out from just a static image. I put a promo video together and boosted it on Instagram. I even designed small physical flyers with a QR code that links to the ticket page. Now today is Wednesday, the week before the gig. This coming Saturday, which is a week before we play our show, the venue's doing an 80s new wave DJ event, which to me sounds like a group of people who are into the kind of music we play who are already patrons of this venue. Seems like a solid group of people to promote to. So this morning I picked up the flyers from the printer and I'm planning on going to the venue to hand out physical flyers to promote our show. Will it make a difference? I guess we'll have to see. Okay everybody, so it's Saturday, the week before our gig. I am on my way to the venue. Got 100 flyers. Let's see how many we can hand out. Okay, so today is Tuesday. We are 4 days out from the event, and I wanted to talk about how flyering at the venue went. Doors for the new wave dance party my buddy was putting on were supposed to be at 8 p.m., so I figured I'd show up at 7:30, kind of get the lay of the land, and put out some flyers before people started piling in. What I didn't account for was that the venue apparently was doing an early show, and it was running late. Not the end of the world. I ended up going in and talking with the venue owner, let him know that I was there to promote the show for next week, and then I met up with Jonathan and Ian, who run Destination Unknown. We just kind of caught up and talked about ways that we could potentially work together in the future. One aside though, bands, if you're contracted to play until a certain time, don't go over that. It's extremely unprofessional and paints you in a bad light for basically everybody you're doing business with. Once the early show cleaned out, the venue turned over and I basically laid flyers on any flat surface I could find. Now, this is the first time I've done this kind of promoting in a long time, and I had two big realizations. The first one being was that 100 flyers probably wasn't enough. Laying out flyers evenly in a venue that size basically used all of them up, so I actually had to circle back and take some so that I could use them to potentially hand out later. On that note, the second thing I realized was that DJ nights are structured way differently than band nights are. If you're going to see a band, there's a much tighter timeline for people to show up, as the band's only going to be playing maybe 2 or 3 hours tops. DJ sets tend to go much longer, and so people are going to arrive a bit more sporadically and more than likely towards the later part of the evening. So my initial plan of handing flyers out to people directly were pretty much dashed, as I stayed there for over 2 hours and people were still coming in. That being said, the folks that were putting on the event that I was flyering at did something for me that was really beneficial. As I was laying flyers out, someone was coming up behind me and laying candy down next to them, and they were doing this for their patrons as a way to get people to sit in certain areas, but it also inadvertently drew more attention to my flyers, which was super helpful. I did manage to talk to some of the patrons and promote the show face to face. There was this one guy who had this really rad shirt, and we talked about that for a while. It was really nice to make a face-to-face connection with people who would be into the stuff that my band does, but normally wouldn't be exposed to it. And I do believe that that personal connection is something that is missing from modern promotion techniques. By the time I needed to hand out, I had less than a dozen flyers left, so I ended up handing them to the venue owner in hopes that they would put those out for any events they had coming up this week. As we're less than a week away from the show, I do have a series of promo videos I'm going to post that count down to the date as a way to kind of build anticipation, and I pulled a few strings and potentially got myself a spot on a morning radio show as a way to promote this event. Fingers crossed, because even though radio is kind of an old school technique, it's probably the widest reach for free advertising out there, so we'll just have to see how it goes. More updates to follow. Okay, so quick update. The radio interview is happening. They said that they would call me around 9:30 on Wednesday, and we'll just see what happens.
Adam, hello?
Yes.
What's your side hustle?
My side hustle is that I play music. I'm a cover musician.
So Adam, just a quick question. If somebody wanted to hire you as a cover band for a party and you're playing 99X music, how can they get a hold of you?
I've kind of built an agency around it. It's called ATL Party Bands. And so you can go to atlpartybands.com and see all of our different lineups. We've got an 80s group called Members Only.
You are on it, Adam. Thank you very much. We appreciate
Adam.
you. Yeah, thanks for calling.
So I was about to promote the show, and then the phone cut out. I just texted the producer. We'll see if I get a call back. Maybe not. Probably not. But it's still pretty good exposure. Got to tell everybody about our group. And, maybe they'll check the website out and it'll just kind of happen by chance. I guess we'll have to see. Okay, so here we are, week after the show. How did it go? So there's a few things to take into account. This past weekend was slammed with events around town. Cinco de Mayo was the day before our show. The Kentucky Derby was Saturday, and there were a bunch of derby parties in our area. We actually had to turn one down in order to play this event. There was also a 3-day music festival going on, and the Mars Volta, 311, and Muse were playing across town the same night. And other bands who were trying to play on Saturday got their gigs canceled because of soft ticket sales. And yet, we had an amazing turnout. We ended up with over 100 pre-sales, and the walk-ups were also really good. On top of that, the band played amazing, and the venue owner literally texted me during the first set about how much he loved what our band was doing. And then when we were settling up, I was able to negotiate a 10% raise over what we got last time for all of our gigs moving forward. Now, tallying things up, I spent $50 on Instagram ads, around $40 for the fancy schmancy flyers, and a ton of man hours. Did all of those things make a difference? I think so. Which one made the biggest impact? It's hard to say. Flyers and FaceTime are one thing, but ending up on the radio is a totally different ballgame. Being on the morning show definitely increased traffic to our website, and it was totally unexpected. What I can say is that all of the effort put into promoting this show got us a pay raise, additional dates at that venue, and a ton of new fans. Do you think after watching this video, you'll go back to flyers? Do you have any other creative promo ideas that you use for your gigs? Leave those in the comments. I'd love to see them. That's gonna do it for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. We post new videos every single Friday. Also, if you want to be a part of the conversation, consider joining us on Patreon. Joining at the $5 level gets you access to the patron exclusive Slack channel, which is full of musicians just like you looking to make good money playing music. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you next time.